Welcome to Edge of the Rabbit Hole. Up tonight, we're going to go into why the Ferry Plantation is so haunted with ACID Paranormal's Cody Green and Amanda Donaldson coming up here in just a moment. All right, Mad Hatters, welcome to Edge of the Rabbit Hole. I am Mike Ricksecker with my co-host, Vanessa Hogle, and of course, down there in the chat room, our chat Shananigator, Shana. Welcome to another fantastic episode as we wind down to the end of the year. We have from ACID Paranormal, Cody Green and Amanda, I almost screwed it up again, didn't I? Amanda Donaldson. I know, I can't say Amanda's name tonight. I don't know what the deal is. It's like, whatever. I don't know. But in any case, yeah, they've been taking care of the Ferry Plantation, been investigating out of there for a number of years. And I've had the pleasure of knowing them for a few years now since I started making those trips out there. It's a fantastically haunted house, but it's also has a lot of fantastic history along with it. So we're going to get into a lot of that history, a lot of those ghost stories, and dive right into it. So Cody and Amanda, welcome. Great to have you on.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. So you want to give our viewers a little background, kind of, what got you started with investigating and getting involved with the Ferry Plantation?
We had done, as a team, only one other investigation before that. We had Crawford Road up in Yorktown. But we got in touch with Ferry Plantation and wanted to, we had heard a lot of the stories and wanted to kind of see for ourselves. And I went to the house a few times to check it out on my own and kind of get a feel for it. And I definitely felt the energy there. And so we decided that we picked a date to investigate and went in there. We did actually 2 different nights there. The evidence was awesome. And just the feeling overall, throughout the 2 nights were really great. And it actually turned into, hey, how can we help volunteer? And now here we are, I'm on the board of directors now, and we've been there for a while. But it's we have 11 named spirits, I should say, because a lot of people say 11 resident spirits. We have 11 named spirits. There's more than that there. We aren't really sure who all of them are yet. But it's a very positive place. There's not a whole lot of negativity in the house unless they feel like some.
Do you find that with a location like that, that can be a little bit more high profile? Do you find that you have people come in that want to come in there and investigate or visit with ill intentions?
Absolutely. We get them all the time. People that get their Paranormal 101 training from the TV shows or, want to invoke the spirits like they just watched The Craft, 10 minutes before they showed up. Right. The house, and I'll probably call it our house, throughout the night just because it is our home away from home. That's not even necessary. You come in with the right intention and our spirits are going to make themselves known to you. If you're a good person, they're going to come up to you and they're going to mess with you. They're going to play with your hair. They're going to whisper in your ear. They're going to poke you in the shoulder with their cane. Something's going to happen if you have the right intentions.
And it doesn't, even if you don't, even if you come in as a skeptic, I know Ferry's given a lot of people their first ever experience.
Pop their ghost cherry.
Yep.
I was about to say. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. I had a guy, it was kind of funny this summer. We do a Friday Night Frights once a month from May until August. And I had a guy come in, him and his girlfriend came in for a history tour. They're both military. He's from Alaska, major skeptic. She was asking paranormal questions during the history tour. And I was giving what I could, but while trying to give the history, because my history tour is really long. But she was all into it. He was just rolling his eyes at everything. So she talked him into coming the next week for Friday Night Frights. And I had finished a tour and one of our other guys was giving a tour. And I kind of saw the guy from Alaska walking around with his hand out in front of him, just walking around the house, like really low. But, I put it up here so you can see it. But his hand was out in front of him really low and just walking around the house. And I was like, dude, what are you doing? He said, I don't know. I'm being dragged around. And it was one of our child spirits, Bessie. She died the day after her 5th birthday.
Today's her birthday.
Actually, yes, today is her
Today
birthday.
is Bessie's birthday. Okay, let's. I actually have the photo of Bessie here. Let me bring that up. So there's Bessie right there.
That is Bessie.
Oh, bless her.
Yeah, well, that picture, as you guys probably know, was rather common. That was her death picture.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can tell.
Yeah.
You can tell.
It kind of freaks people out when they see it in the house. But it was hilarious because she actually pulled in. My son was over playing on a tablet. And you can, at one point, I walked back in the room where my son is, and the guy's standing next to my son with his hand out because she was obviously interested in whatever was going on the tablet. So, yeah, it was pretty funny to watch this guy who was a complete skeptic about all this just get dragged around the entire house. It was awesome.
That's hilarious.
And Cody, you've said before that's happened to you where you'll be giving a tour and all of a sudden somebody's playing with your hand or something, right?
Yeah, it's Bessie. She grabs my hand and swings your arm like a kid when you're holding hands with a kid and they swing your arm. She'll do that during history tours and people look at me like a complete, weirdo. Because during history tours, unless they bring up the paranormal, we don't talk about it.
Right.
So, yeah, if I'm just standing there swinging my arm for no reason whatsoever, they're like, it's kind of off.
So, and she's usually up in the nursery, right?
After 10 o'clock.
After
That's
10
where
o'clock.
she's.
Okay. Because I think I had an interaction with her up in the nursery there, so I just wanted to show that real quick because, the interior of the house is beautiful, so I've collected a number of interior shots here to share with our viewers. So, yeah, that's the nursery, and it's back there in that closet, right, that she usually hangs out? Because I think that's where I had my interaction with her.
I don't know anymore. You were here last time. You didn't investigate this last time, right?
Yeah, I investigated this time. Not really up there because that other team was up on the second floor, and so I kept my investigation really to the best parlor, and then I went up into Henry's room.
Okay. Yeah. Since you investigated in the nursery last time, we actually put in a new AC unit in that closet.
Oh wow.
So,
okay.
Not much in there anymore.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, because I think there were like clothes in there before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was where we kept a lot of our costumes for the house.
When you did that, when you had to put that in there and possibly disrupt where she would normally be, did you have any repercussions from that? Did you notice a spike in activity or maybe a change in behavior?
No, not really. I think, we've been open as a history museum for 22 years now. And I think they've gotten kind of used to knowing that what we do, the renovations that we're doing, are to keep the history alive in the house.
Gotcha.
The
contractors did mention activity.
Yeah, the contractors did, but
okay.
The contractors went in with a preconceived notion. Because it was hilarious seeing them sometimes. Because when they first got there, of course, they're asking me, "So there's ghosts here? We didn't see anything." It was so funny. There's one day I knew they were going to be there, so I showed up. It was the day we were closed, and they were all up in the nursery. And I walked up the stairs, and they're just talking. I just stood in the doorway, and one of the guys saw me. He goes, "Oh, there's a ghost right there." And two of them turned and jumped when they saw me.
Wow.
Oh my God.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah.
No, my goodness. Do you think, just getting back to the very first question that I asked you about people's behavior when they come in there and how they act, do you think that the reason people go to these locations, especially ones that have been, for lack of a better word, proven haunted, which it's hard to prove to make everybody happy, but seriously, proven haunted. Do you think that they do that and they act inappropriately so that they can get a bad response, so that they've got something to say because they don't realize that a good response is just as important?
I think some of it's that. Some of it maybe they watch too much of a certain 50-year-old dude with steroids and tattoos on TV.
Douchebags.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy, right.
Douchebaggins?
Douchebags, yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
What's
It's just,
actually funny
Uh-huh.
about that particular show is couple years ago, before Belinda, or the founder of the Friends of the Ferry Plantation House organization that runs Ferry Plantation, they actually put in a request, through the Travel Channel to come to the house.
Oh.
And Belinda refuses to let them step foot on the property just because of douchebaggins, antagonistic ways. We don't need that. We don't need your validation. We know what our house has. We know there's positivity here. We don't need douchebaggins and his crew to come in and incite the evil and invoke the devil.
Yeah, because there's a demon everywhere he goes. So.
Right, of
Oh,
course.
I know, right?
And he gets possessed. Yeah.
It's probably
We talk about that all the time.
I don't know.
They did it again this summer. They did send us a contract again this summer, and we sent them our contract with the number one rule being you will not provoke our spirits, and we haven't heard anything back from them.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Not surprising.
Well, yes and no, because I mean, honestly, if you guys send them a contract back stating what you won't allow, then they already know they're going to break that contract.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
They
yeah,
already
and
know that.
also
Because that's their MO.
their contract also said that they would need like 2 hours in the house alone.
No.
And we don't allow that. We
Right.
can't allow that. Because we're on the National Registry. We have to have a board member in the house at all times. So, I mean, we're not asking to be on camera, but we need to be there.
Right.
Exactly right. And I love that you said you don't need validation. Thank you
No.
for that. Because I think that's where we're really going off in the wrong direction in this community, as everybody is saying, well, prove it. No, no, you don't have to. My experiences are mine, yours are yours, Mike's are Mike's. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's what causes the pissing contest.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And it's haunted. There's a lot that goes on there. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Amanda.
Oh, no, what'd you say, Mike?
No, I didn't catch what Amanda said.
Oh, I was just, basically saying it's not, I don't have to prove anything to you. If anything, disprove me. Prove that what I'm showing or bringing to the table is false or not real. And if you think that you can disprove me, go fuck yourself, because I know what I have experienced is real. We've documented it in many different ways. EVPs, video, you name it, we have it. If we don't have it as a team, we've had over 500 teams in the course of 22 years.
Whoa.
Our house. There's too much out there to be refuted. If you don't want to believe it, that's you.
Mm-hmm.
You can go ahead and continue living your sad, miserable existence of a life, and I'm going to be happy ghost hunting in my happy place.
And I mean, my experiences are different from hers. I mean, I am a sensitive. I'm, Haley Joel Osment, if you want. But I do see and hear every single day, and especially at Ferry. But when it comes to putting that down as evidence, I can't ever do that. That's my experience. Is I don't have evidence of that. But what we have put out, I will guarantee. I believe that's what that is. Period. If you figure out it's something different, great. If you can figure that out through that, it's great. But I will stand by my evidence 100% because that's my integrity.
Well, and it needs to be more about the communication, the interaction, and the help than it does about proving or disproving anything.
Yeah, we're all researchers. We're all trying to figure out why these things are happening, why these spirits are there, why certain ones seem stuck at some place and some seem to be able to travel around. That's what we're all trying to do. Like a lot of us grew up with it, like me, grew up seeing these things. I want to know why. Why have I been seeing these things my whole life? Why are these things happening? And if it's like any other research that they do for anything else. If we can figure out why, maybe we can help. That's always a big thing with us is, when there's families in need, we want to be there to help, and we'll help in any way we can. I'm not saying, we're not exorcists or anything, but with certain things, we can do small things to help out sometimes, and sometimes those work. Or sometimes just communication works too. You know, but that's what it's all about, is helping everybody out, trying to figure out why these things are happening, and and it's even better if it turns out to be something that's not paranormal. It's something that's going on in your house that had nothing to do with the spirit. Then, hey, that's easier to fix,
Yeah. That's the one question I've never asked is why. I've talked to spirits since I was 2. So for 44 years now, I don't ever ask why. I don't care.
Huh?
I just do it.
They don't ask us why we're here. And
Exactly.
Yeah. I just do it.
Hey, we have a $10 super chat from Tom McNicholas. He says,
Thank you, Tom.
thank you very much, Tom. He says, a fairy plantation is awesome. It is. So thank you very much, Tom. And
Thanks, Tom.
yeah. So we definitely appreciate that. And on that note, let me bring this up. So the Ferry Plantation, let me get back to, there's the cover. That's what I wanted to bring up.
Yay.
So, so this book, Encounters with the Paranormal, Volume 4, features the Ferry Plantation. And part of the proceeds of that go toward the Ferry Plantation. So it'll be a donation to them. The first one of that will come out in January, because that'll be the final quarter of 2018. But yeah, so awesome. Cody has a story in there. Cody and Amanda were also interviewed along with Brennan in the final chapter of the book, talking about their experiences there at the Ferry Plantation. Of course, we have all kinds of other stories within there as well. And then others also came forward with their experiences from the Ferry Plantation. So be sure to pick that up. I did put a link in the description to that book. So be sure to grab that and pick it up. So yeah, I really enjoyed sitting down with you guys. Last time I was there, and of course, every time I've been there, you guys have always been there, which is awesome. Yeah, and by the way, Amanda's one of our Mad Hatters too, so she's routinely watched the rabbit hole here. Fantastic supporter of ours, and so I really enjoyed that sit down interview that we did. There was so much additional information that you had provided. Of course, all the experiences that all of you have had there, and there's just such a rich history of that location that I think kind of leads into a number of these different stories of things that have happened, from the original manor house that burned down to what's happened with the property, and how the surrounding land that used to be part of the plantation is now all these houses are on top of it, and you have that cemetery that got bulldozed over, and the Indian mound in the back that also got bulldozed over, and kind of all that plays into it. It got concreted over. Okay.
That's the tennis court. The tennis court.
The tennis court was put on top of it, right? Didn't they level it though to put the tennis court on top of it?
Yeah,
though?
they did.
Yeah.
They did a little digging there. Yeah.
Okay. We have a couple other super chats here. So Dustin Samario, a $2 super chat. Thank you, Dustin. And Spooky from Dawn, a $5 super chat. She says, ho, ho, ho. Well, thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it. Yeah, definitely. Happy holidays.
Awesome. Did everybody freeze?
No, we're good.
Okay.
No, we're good.
Okay. It looked like it for a second. Can I ask a stupid question? I mean, I can ask a stupid question. Do y'all mind if I ask a stupid
Just
question?
ask the question. Go ahead.
Okay. Is there a particular hairbrush that's there that has a lot of activity around it?
At Ferry?
Yeah.
I know there's a comb in the master bedroom, but I haven't noticed any activity around it. Master bedroom's rather quiet. That's the only place I can think of that has any type of.
I just keep seeing this one of those. It looks like a horsehair hairbrush, and I don't know why. Don't disregard it if it's not important. But they were showing it to me, so I had to say something.
Yeah, not that I mean, there may be one in the living room. I'd have to look.
Well, the brushes that they use to
we got the wool and flax brushes that you do the cotton and the wool with, separate it and thin it out. We have those, but
it could, I don't know. Just put that in the back in the file of facts in your mind.
All right.
And because I had to tell you, so now I'm done with it.
We'll be there all day Saturday. I know that. So.
Just look around.
Okay.
All right, definitely.
Okay.
Okay. So we have a $10 super chat from Joe Chandler. She says, "Happy holidays to my sweet friends in the chat." So thank you very much, Joe. Absolutely appreciate that. And we do have a question from Fran Molino. She asks, yeah, from Fran. Yep. She asked, "Does anyone get spirit activity outside, near, or on the mound?" And I know you guys had some interesting stuff about that tennis court.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I got actually a really good one night. I don't remember why we were there or why we were meeting up there. It was you and Heather were together. And I was at the house by myself. And I was sitting outside, and it was partly cloudy night. And I was sitting out front on one of the benches, and I could hear the drums. I could hear the native drums. And it was pretty wild, and the wind was picking up, and I was just feeling all kinds of crazy stuff, which led me to kind of really get the feeling of battle. And
that was a very emotional experience
It was.
for him too. It not to make him sound like a wuss or anything, but
No.
I mean, that particular event, well, ended in tears.
Yeah. I was experiencing it, the war, the battle. And from what we know, it was the Chesapeake natives were the ones who were there. And they were completely slaughtered by Powhatan.
Powhatan prophecy.
Yeah, the Powhatan, he decided to be the king of the East Coast. He sent someone down to the Chesapeakeans, and they're like, "No, we're okay. We don't need you." And so he sent his warriors down to just slaughter every man, woman, and child. And when we found out that the tennis court was put over native burial ground, they actually brought tribal elders out from a bunch of different tribes, because obviously there's no Chesapeake natives left. So they brought a few tribal elders out, and they said, just because there was people talking about just grabbing pickaxes and jackhammers and digging it up. And they said, no, just don't disturb them anymore. Leave them as they are. They've been disturbed enough.
Right.
Okay.
But yeah, it was emotional. I mean, I was like right in the heart of it. It was pretty crazy. I've had that only happen a few other times in my life. And, you probably know, Vanessa, if you feel like I do, you get the feelings like I do, like battlefields are a nightmare just because of the, everything going on. It's just oversaturation of, feelings. But yeah, it's, that was really crazy. That was one outside that we had. Yeah, that I had. That was pretty nuts.
I'm actually lucky in that regard. Very lucky, because I've investigated Sailor's Creek and some other areas like that, and it's almost as if they stop the bad stuff so that everybody can talk to me at one time. And so, I mean, I don't know if it's because I was married to military, but any type of military or anyone that's in battle, they almost speak to me as an equal, and it's explaining. It's really strange. It's really bizarre, but we've caught it on tape where I'm literally surrounded, and they're coming from all directions at Sailor's Creek, telling me where they came from, where they should have come from, how many died, how many wouldn't have died if they would have come from this direction, and everything else. And we were able to verify every bit of it. But it's like they stopped the fighting just so they could tell me all of that.
See, I think mine with those are the residuals that are there that I get on the battlefields. That's what I get, is the residuals.
Oh, that would suck.
Yeah, it's the fight. I mean, I couldn't really even step onto Yorktown battlefield. I've been to Surrender Field. That's where Crawford Road is. But Surrender Field is just where they surrendered to Washington. There's no battle there. So, but yeah, Yorktown battlefield, I've driven around it, but actually, and I've been in the museum, but actually stepping out on the battlefield was really hard for me.
I want to go now.
Same with me when we went to Cold Harbor, which is up near Richmond, Virginia. And Cold Harbor is the home of, or was the battleground of one of the bloodiest battles in Civil War history. I can't remember how many thousands of soldiers died within like a small, it was like the largest number in the smallest period of time. There was so much death that the lakes and rivers ran red with blood. And it was just a really intense experience, I guess, is the best I can actually say. Because I'm not as gifted as, like, say, Cody or you are. So I'm still in, like, a very young empathic stage. So mine was just the overwhelming feelings of the fear that those soldiers had. In some areas there was rage, just and just what comes, from battlefields.
Yeah.
Hey, so Fran had a question about the burial mound. She was wondering if they did a ritual to put the spirits at peace there.
Yeah, they. I know when Belinda brought the elders out, they did. There's still, there's still stuff going on around there. They aren't angry anymore.
You said, I remember you saying that some of the locals that go out there to play tennis are a little uneasy out there.
Well, I mean, I think that just comes from the stories.
Okay.
Because everybody knows now. When one of our neighbors first moved in, she moved in right beside our driveway, which is a long walk up to the house from the driveway. So we're sitting in the house and we see her walking up the path with her little tennis ball machine, goes into the tennis court and starts hitting the tennis balls. A lady from the other side of the neighborhood walks over to the tennis court, and I'm watching through the window just cracking up because I'm seeing them talking. She didn't even pick up her tennis ball. She grabbed her machine and left. So, I mean, they know.
Wow.
There are a couple accounts of people that have gone out there and, people say that they can't play a decent game of tennis. It's also a basketball court. So it's like one way you can play tennis, but there's also a basketball hoop out there. People get injured. There have been claims of a couple people that have, like, broken ankles, twisted ankles, wrists, that sort of thing. So it is what it is.
I mean, I've seen natives out there. There's a couple main ones that we see out there. There's a chief and there's a warrior. We call chief, and we've named the warrior wolf, and bear's out there as well. Bear's rather large guy, but I mean, we see them out there. But yeah, they seem to kind of help us in protecting the area. That's kind of seems to be what they feel their job is now, is helping us protect the area.
Oh, that's good. That's good. This is from Bree Jones. She says, I keep picking up on a well there. Not sure what that's referring to.
A what?
A well. Yeah.
Oh, we have a well out front, right in front of the house.
Yeah.
We have the well that sits right in front of the house. But I'm not sure what she would get from that. I've never gotten anything from the well.
Maybe she's just seeing it.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, she'll just be seeing it. I don't know. And then from Dawn, have you ever had a spirit crack you up or make you laugh?
Oh, God. All right. I got to tell okay. I actually tell this during tours because, people always want to know our personal experiences. And there's one night we do what's called family investigations, where it's a bunch of us that are friends, connected to Ferry, and we all go to, it's kind of a fun investigation. It's not real, serious. And we stay the night afterwards.
We're hanging out, talking to the dead people.
Basically. And we used to stay the night there so much because we used to live a good, 40 minutes away. We moved closer. But so we would stay the night there quite often. So we ended up buying air mattresses just because, there's no beds to sleep on in the house. And so one night it was actually Brendan's daughter was staying, but he wasn't. So she was staying on our good air mattress with Amanda. And a bunch of people were staying in the parlor. And then I ended up going to the library to sleep on a smaller air mattress.
The crappy air mattress.
Yeah, the crappy air mattress. The good 18-inch, ribbed, nice air mattress. But so I'm in the library, which is the next room over. And I mean, it's 4:30 in the morning, after an investigation, everybody's ready to sleep. You just want to pass out before the sun comes up. And I was right there on that edge of REM sleep. The drool was coming. and I feel my entire body raise up. So I shoot up, and I'm looking around, and I didn't see anyone. And I'm like, okay, either one of the spirits is messing with me, or it's you're at that edge of sleep, so maybe you kind of feel your body move sometimes when that happens. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm gonna lay down. I need to go sleep. As soon as my head hits the pillow, my body raises up again, and then I heard the giggle, and it does it again. And I'm like, okay, just need to stop, please. I need to go sleep. And Heather was in the next room. Our vice president of the board was in the next room. And she goes, whoever's messing with you thinks it's hilarious. And I was like, yeah, and it's not. I want to sleep, because one of our spirits, Stella, thought it would be hilarious that every time she stepped on my air mattress, my body rose up. Which, I tell people I think is proof that you can get drunk in the afterlife.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or maybe you think you're drunk. I don't know. Could spirits get high on spirits?
Why not?
Hey.
Maybe she just wanted to have a little fun.
Oh, she was all about having fun. Stella was a party girl.
See?
That's awesome.
I mean, she got to get her kick somehow, right?
I like to say during my tour that she was a turn of the century Kardashian.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
And we have a $10 super chat from Andrew Cox. So thank you very much, Andrew. Absolutely do appreciate that, and appreciate all of the super chats this evening. It's awesome. And
awesome band, right?
yeah, they're fantastic. And here we go, another $10 super chat, Raul Pfeiffer Mueller. So thank you very much, Raul. Feeling dunk. So
all right,
thank you.
Awesome. So. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about the best parlor, because that's, of course, where I've had my one of the more significant paranormal experiences of my entire career since I started investigating the paranormal. You guys were there in another room when that happened to me, because I don't ever claim to be psychic, but I was definitely connecting with somebody there, and things were just coming into my head about the room, about the house, about the situation, because that's when the best parlor was set up for a wake. And then I got a great EVP that night that said, "Help me." I saw a white band of light that was up there at the exact same time. So all these things were happening, and then somebody said when I walked out of the room, they could see like balls of light coming off me or something. I didn't actually ever see that, but I can't remember who it was that said that. But so in talking with you guys when I was interviewing you guys for Encounters with Paranormal Volume 4. And I was asking about the most haunted locations of the house. You're saying the best parlor. So what is it about that room? And here's the best parlor.
It was probably the most lived in room. I mean, pardon the pun. Best parlor is what they originally coined the phrase, and they, later became living rooms. But this is where you would entertain your guests. This is probably where, they spent a majority of their time. There were lots of good times there, lots of bad times there. So either way you look at it, it's good energy, bad energy. And,
it's also where they would have greeted their guests for parties and stuff. That window you see in there behind where that's shuttered up behind the harp and the piano was actually a door at one point. It was the carriage entrance. So the carriage pulled right up there, and let the guests out there, and they would greet their guests there. So it was often used as it's where they hung out. It's where they played music. It's where Mom would sit and knit her crochet. And that table there in the middle is an actual antique gaming table that was from the original manor house. It was given as a gift before it burnt down. But you can actually flip up one side of it. It's got a cubby in there to keep games inside and stuff like that. So it was probably the most used room in the house. After dinners where the men would probably go for cigars and brandy, and or actually they'd probably go in the library, and the women would go in there and hang out.
A lot of the comments in the chat are talking about the harp, and they're like, "Oh, it's a beautiful harp." You want to tell them about the piano? Because that's I think that's more significant than the harp.
That's my favorite piece in the house. As a history nerd, that was actually it got a little muddled, the history of it, and we just kind of figured everything out. I was led to believe it was from the original manor house, but the information we got was a little off on that. But it was in a bar in Charlottesville, Virginia, or in a tavern, I should say, that was frequented by Thomas Jefferson, who would play that piano often. Now, Thomas Jefferson was a first cousin of Jane Walk. So we do know he had come to the property for different family functions and things like that. And sometimes he was at the property without the family being there, with some friends sometimes. We know that he played that piano quite often. We do know once he played it in that tavern when he brought his friend along, Marquis de Lafayette, and they played it together rather drunkenly one night. And then we tracked it down, or Friends of Ferry Plantation House tracked it down to a barn in Smithfield, Virginia.
Oh, wow.
And it sat there for years. And they were able to purchase it, confirm it, purchase it, and bring it back to the house. So it'll never be in tune again because it sat in the elements for so long. But that piano is actually in amazing shape for as old as it is for one, and just the elements it was in for such a long time. But
right.
Yeah, that's my favorite piece in the house. It's a very significant piece you're not going to find anywhere else.
Sean Oldsmith is asking if you ever hear music playing in the house.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hear piano, we hear violins. We even heard the banjo play once. We have a banjo in a corner. Yeah, music is, it was a big thing for them. We'll hear dinner parties happening. There was one night we had the portal speaker set up. And it was another team that was actually there investigating that night. I was just there, as the board member. And they found out that we had the portal, and they were like, can you set it up? And I was like, sure, set it up for them. And there was a whole party going on in the room. You could hear everything happening in the room, through the portal. And they were talking back and forth between us. And that was actually a really cool one, because one of the investigators actually said, should we fear death? And clear as day, a voice came from the speaker. He thinks we're dead. And I went, all right, he needs a cigarette. So I stepped outside, I came back in, and I got into the library, the next room, and I heard coming out of the speaker, is Cody still here? It's like, that just say my name? They're like, it's the third time since you left.
Right.
So,
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it makes you wonder how they really view that other side, if they don't even think they're dead. I mean, and I don't necessarily think that that's the way it works, where they're like, oh yeah, we're dead, we're here. No, I think they're still just living their life.
Exactly.
There's a lot of theories on that.
Without the meat sack.
Yeah.
I do have a question, just based on what you just said about the piano and everything. So since there was a fire there, obviously you have, items in the home that were not necessarily from the home, correct? They're just period.
Yeah, well, the fire happened in the original manor house. It was a different house.
Let me bring that up.
I know you showed the painting of it, the original manor house.
That is there.
There it is. That's it. Now, if you look at that, the big house in the middle, that was the original manor house. That is not the house that's standing now. That burned down in 1828 during a party. They knocked over one of the 250 oil lamps in the house. And then it hit the whale oil in the basement and exploded. Now, the little brick building to the left, the little one, that was the 3rd Princess Anne County Courthouse.
Okay.
That is the first section of our house. After the manor house burnt down, they added on to the courthouse because the court had moved on by then. So it's the manor house was way bigger than probably 3 times the size of our house now.
Oh, it's more than that.
Probably more.
Okay. So, but the items that you have in the house, they're period specific, but maybe not all from that house?
Yeah, they're not all from the original house. What's great is, though, like I said, that gaming table did come from the original manor house. The dining room chairs and table that we have came from the original manor house because Elizabeth Walk decided she didn't like them and gave them to her son and bought herself a new set. And that set that she gave to her son got passed up through the generations and then donated back to us. So we had some really cool stuff come through from family members, the Barnetts, who were the last major family, I would say, in the No family that lived there. They were there until 1942 and then moved to New York. And so there's still people alive who knew them that will come to the house. So and they like to bring us little things. And we have, luckily, Belinda, in the painting, there's another brick building all the way to the left. That's an Old Donation Church, which is still standing. And it's called that because the Walk family originally owned the property, donated that land to the church. But they had all the documentation on the house. They had the original court documents from the courthouse, which only ran from 1735 to 1750. They have, and they actually had all the documentation on Grace Sherwood, who we talked about earlier, or talked about off air. But so she was able to gather all this information just from being the historian at the church.
So do you think that maybe additional activity or energy that you have there at the Ferry Plantation is exacerbated by other energies from other homes that might have been attached to these pieces that have made their way back?
I really don't feel anything like that. I haven't felt anything like that from any pieces that have come in or any donated pieces from other places. I really haven't seen any attachment like that. I mean, the spirits that we know of that are named, we know they're attached to the house. We know their histories. Others, I haven't really noticed any attachment to any certain objects in the house. No.
And to give people some perspective here, so it's the little brick part to the left of the bigger building. Yes. That was the courthouse that Cody was talking about. And then the best parlor is actually in the white section that's to the right here. So to kind of give you guys an idea of where things are situated around the current house. And so they built this bigger section here. It was after the you guys can say the 1820, was it 1820? 1828? Okay. Yeah. So
the courthouse section of the home was built again in 1735. It was the first brick county in Princess Anne, which is now modern day Virginia Beach. In 1830, after the Manor House incident, they built the center section of the house, the 2 stories that you see there. And then in 1850 is when the final addition was added, which is the best parlor. And we refer to it as the conference room, but at the time it would have been like the teenage girl's bedroom. Right.
Okay, and that's the white part, which I don't have the whole thing there. I don't know why I chose this particular picture, but I did.
Another thing, we don't have very many pictures to show it. Yes, the house is brick, but it used to actually have a coating of oyster shell stucco.
I tried to find a photo of that for the book, and I could not find one. I know you guys have one there at the house.
Yeah, we have one from what the house looked like in 1973 when it still had all the porches on it.
Yeah.
And porches just rot away. And I mean, if anybody's ever had to work a historical museum or historical home, renovations are extremely expensive, and we are not city run. We are completely volunteer and donation run. So it's a little harder for us to get those funds for those kind of things.
Right.
We'd love to. I mean, I've looked into doing the oyster stuff. I was like, maybe I could do it myself. Yeah, no. I mean, it's like you do a square foot at a time, and it's really expensive.
Right.
But we'd love to put that stuff back up again. I mean, hopefully someday we will.
I saw some photos with the porch on the front, which did look nice.
The stucco stuff. Huh?
I did see some photos with the stucco was off, but the porch was still there. I saw a couple like that.
Yeah. Well, what happened is the house was left abandoned for like 9 years, and it was run by the city or owned by the city. And I guess in the beginning stages of that, they decided to pressure wash, and that's where the stucco went.
Okay, stucco came off the pressure wash. Gotcha.
Two chimneys on top still have the stucco on them.
Yeah, let's. All right, so there. Yeah, the white chimneys.
Yep.
So you can kind of see it's pretty clean now. But you can kind of see where the porch had been, the roof of the porch.
Yes.
Yeah. So Sharon Lane is commenting. these kind of together here. I'll put these together. 2 comments, one that she made earlier, one that she just made a moment ago. So she says, Mike has a strong connection to that place from my observation during the live walkthrough, and then asking, do they think reenactments of funerals or battles cause the spirits to be upset? And so I linked those 2 together because the first time that I was there, if we go back to the best parlor, which is there's the best parlor. But when I was first there, that was set up. It was set up as a wake. And the questioning that I was doing that night was, tied into this display. And what I was getting from Isabel was that she didn't quite care for that display because there were a lot of other things, a lot more happier times that happened in the best parlor rather than, the wakes. So that was what I was getting. But have you guys experienced that sort of thing when you've had the wake display out there?
Bessie doesn't like it.
Bessie doesn't like it? Okay.
We set up in October. We do a 2-night event called Stroll of Lost Souls. And we set up for that. And usually Paracon comes a week after that. So that's why it was set up when you were there for that. When we do Stroll of Lost Souls, we set up the house for a wake. We cover the mirrors, with the black veils. It's all done up for a week. But I think Bessie's the only one who's actually shown negatively to it.
Okay. So you guys got that from Bessie. So, I mean, my interactions were, I guess, with Isabel. I didn't catch the name there. Everybody pretty much told me that it was Isabel. I knew it was a woman. And and I knew that she didn't like that, but I was like, well, I'll make sure to tell Heather, and I did, because I came out after that happened, and I was sitting out front, and I was, and Heather came out, talked to me for a little bit about what happened, and so I told her all that, and then I called Vanessa. But it was definitely a very powerful moment. She was very strongly letting me know that that she didn't like that. And then just, the EVP that I got and just some of the different things that I saw, witness. It was, it's a very powerful room. It just really is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and, back then they didn't have funeral parlors, so that's where you
right. You had to do it there. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but,
because she never got Charles's body to do one.
Right. Right. Yeah. But she planted the magnolia tree. Right?
No. That was theirs. Sally Rebecca Walk was there.
Oh, it was Rebecca. Okay.
Sally Rebecca Walk was there. She was one of the cousins from Ohio that they brought down to keep safe, and her fiance was a Union soldier, and he died in the war. So she planted the magnolia in 1863.
All right. So, and I don't think I included the magnolia tree, but.
Darn it, Mike.
Yeah, a lot of photos to choose from.
I'm from not far from Magnolia, Texas, and that's the biggest magnolia tree I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing how the stuff on that property grows. It's crazy. We have a cedar tree that's from that painting that you showed. That painting was from 1955. That cedar tree's in that painting, or 1755. Sorry, we still have the painting tree from that we know was planted at least 1700.
Right, people that were actually hung on that tree back when the courthouse was in use. Right.
Well, actually, no. There was actually that hanging tree wasn't used during the courthouse. It was actually used during the 1800 and 1802 rebellions. Rebellions.
Okay, interesting.
Yep. We just found that out actually just recently. We were going back into some history and discovered that.
That's so sad.
Wow.
It is.
That is so sad. That's one of the things, and people don't believe me when I tell them this, but Virginia is, and I've been all over the world, probably the most haunted fucking place I've ever been.
Wow.
Ever.
It's funny because I actually have, I am a rideshare driver. So I have it on my profile that, fun fact, I'm a paranormal investigator. And so that starts up conversations immediately. And people are always like, where's the most places in Virginia? Where have you investigated? And what can you come to my house? But yeah, it's they're probably the most haunted place, at least in our area. They won't let you investigate.
Yeah. Well, honestly, you can be driving down the highway and you see, as long as I'm not driving, if I'm in the passenger seat, they're lining the damn highway.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, all over Hollywood Cemetery, private residences that I've been in, the woods I've been in, again, Sailor's Creek, different areas where there was a lot of the rebellion, we'll put it that way.
Yep.
It's the most congested, haunted place I've ever been in. And I've been to England, Scotland, and Ireland.
Wow.
And Virginia has the most congested activity.
Oh yeah. Well, it was first landing.
It's crazy.
You know, where it all got started.
Yeah. It's the most violent out of all those, out of every place I've ever been. It is the most violent.
Yep.
So
yeah, the building down at the oceanfront that was built in '29, and it was actually where everybody jumped from during the Depression because it was the tallest building in Princess Anne County, including Adolphus Coors, the founder of Coors Beer. He jumped from a 6th floor window from this hotel. But you know,
that is ironic that you mentioned that, because I Shana, can you bring it in here? She's in the house, but we just got from Shauna's Christmas party the other night. It was, you know, the big gift at the end, which basically had like a lot of gag type of stuff in it. You know, there were some legit things in there, but there was, you know, like service station applications in there and little, you know, just little tiny candies, mostly like gag, you know, type of stuff. I think there's some gas X pills or something like that in there. But one of the things that was like a legit item that was in it was the last copy from a print run in 2014 of a newspaper that reprinted like old historic articles, or maybe it was they printed historic articles or something like that along those lines. But on the very front of it, for their last run of this issue, and she's bringing it in, that's awesome, is what you just mentioned. And I'm going to show you this. This is awesome. How ironic. I just dropped that. So, beer baron Adolphus Coors leaps to his death from hotel window.
Wow, that's great.
You know, and there's him, and there's the hotel.
Yeah, there's Cavalier Hotel.
wow,
That's awesome.
Yep. That's cool.
That's bizarre.
Crazy.
That is freaking wild.
Yeah, but what's wild is you can sit outside that hotel, sit out front.
Thank you, Shana, for bringing that in. Thank you.
Yeah, if you can see, you know, like we do, you'll see bodies fall every once in a while. You see shadows just in front of this building. It's pretty wild.
Only on the rabbit hole, y'all, will this shit happen. Tell your friends. Only on edge of the rabbit hole does this shit happen. That creeps me out, and I don't get creeped out, but that's fucked up. Okay? Just letting y'all know right now, the one who never gets freaked out just had a little freak out right there. I'm just yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, there's some sort of crazy connection. I don't know what the deal is. You know, whatever it is.
Wow.
So yeah, that's wild.
You know, it's funny because it does that around here for us. It seems, you know, there's be little connections here and there. I mean, you know, our areas. I mean, you know, you talk about how haunted Virginia is. I mean, why do you think Edgar Casey chose Virginia Beach?
Edgar Casey.
I drive past the ARE almost every day.
Do you really?
Oh yeah, it's right there on the front.
If people really want to know what all of this is about and what we're all really doing and what our purpose really is, they need to read up on Edgar Casey.
Oh yeah.
Pull your heads out of your tushies. Read up on Edgar Casey, and you'll get it. Something will click. And people will understand that it's about something so much bigger than each of us as an individual.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
If they would just do that. But no, that's not fun.
No.
Sorry, that was shitty. That was shitty of me to say, but it's true. And why the fuck am I going to start sugarcoating stuff now? I'm not going to do that.
That wouldn't be you.
I know, right?
No.
Yeah, there's Joe Chandler saying read his stuff in high school and loved it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Amazing
amazing
individual.
stuff. Yep. So Sharon Lane, what is it about Virginia Beach?
It's got to be the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it too. One, like I said, with all the history here, the amount of people that started coming through here first, this being first landing, I mean, there's just been stuff happening around here forever. And Virginia Beach is kind of odd for it because, I mean, up until probably the 1940s or 50s, it was really rural. It was all farmland. I mean, Virginia Beach was nothing like it is now. It wasn't even called Virginia Beach until 1962.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's still, as a city, it's still rather young. It just built up really fast. But I don't know, it might be a lot of because of what we've done with building it up. I mean, we're only one of four working historical homes in Virginia Beach. There's two other ones that are sitting kind of dormant right now, but that's it. Out of all the historical homes that we should have still there, there's only 4 left. So they might be riled up too because of all the construction that's constantly going on there with tearing buildings down and building new stuff up. But then again, also a lot of battles went on here, not just, native battles and Civil War and, Revolutionary War stuff happened around here. So, there was a lot of turmoil going on around this area. So, I mean, it could be a whole lot of things. It's a whole lot of things, I should say.
And I think just being so close to that Mason-Dixon line, if you will, a lot of people were torn on whether they were, going to be side with the northern sympathizers or southern aggressors, if you will. Just even turmoil within families. And I think turmoil within families is greater than any kind of turmoil you could have with, Joe Blow down the street.
That, if you look at our landscape, and a lot of us know, how this stuff works. One, we have the Atlantic Ocean right here, but we also have a ton of rivers that just off everywhere. And that's a great conductor.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, absolutely.
I was exploring the woods with my son and Gwen and Chris from BPI, and we were
we know BPI.
Yeah, as my buddies. And we found the most amazing earthworks there. And it's something that I think a lot of people, if they were walking through there, they wouldn't know what that was. I wouldn't have. Gwen told me. And I mean, just the energy with that area there was amazing. And it's something as simple as that. It doesn't have to be a big asylum or something like that, but investigate or explore those areas. The feelings you get, the communication you get from something as simple as a place that was dug out by people's hands to hide. Mm-hmm. Almost can't top it.
Yep.
Yeah. Craziness.
All right. So what is going on? We're getting down towards the end of the show, if you can believe that. And we didn't even touch it anywhere close to, all that's going on at the Ferry Plantation with all the different hauntings and everything, because there's so much. But what's going on there as far as, I know you have some holiday stuff coming up. So what's going on with the Ferry and what's going on with ACID Paranormal?
We got a Dickens night coming up on this Saturday, actually, where this is our first year doing it. I wrote a script, and basically I'm going to walk you on a tour of the house, starting at the top on the way down, going room to room, telling you a version of the Christmas Carol I wrote. I took Dickens and abridged it, basically. And we're going to have some, actors walking around and things like that in the house. It's going to be a pretty cool night. It's going to be a lantern guided tour.
Nice.
So it's going to be pretty awesome. We're looking at doing, we closed in January and February. We're closed down for, work we need to get done and super clean we need to get done. We'll probably start the Friday Night Fridays back up right again in April. But we are hoping to do some themed teas and stuff like that. We used to be known for doing the social teas back in the day. I think nowadays a themed tea would be more, inclined to what people want. So we're looking at doing like a Poe reading, cool. Doing like an outdoor whimsical Alice in Wonderland style tea. Of course, our big, Easter event is huge every year. But yeah, it's the digging sites are our last big event of the year before we shut down. We'll still be open the Saturday after for tours, but we're that'll be it until March.
And team wise, our focus has been a little bit more on the residentials that we've called into. A lot of our friends that are on other teams are, hitting these well-known, already established haunted locations, and that's all fine and good. But we wanted to take ACID on more of a where we're trying to help others and meet, us going to, a haunted asylum that 50 billion paranormal investigators have already been through and established as haunted. What does that do for us? So as far as the team aspect is concerned, we're focusing more on the residential and helping people with their homes and trying to figure out what they have there.
Nobody should be scared in their own home.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're being scared and they aren't trying to scare them. They're just trying to communicate.
Right.
So we try to bridge that gap sometimes.
Exactly. And there's just that misunderstanding because it's something that's unseen. And, we as humans don't always understand. That's all they're trying to do is communicate. So,
yeah, we did a private walkthrough tour Friday night. And the host of the event, her niece that actually lives with her is terrified of the paranormal.
Oh, wow.
House is haunted. So, anytime something was happening, this young girl, she was like 17 years old, thought she was going to pee her pants, bless her heart. But I forgot where I was going with that. I fell down the rabbit hole, Mike.
You fell right down the rabbit hole. Come on down. It's all right. It's all right. So how can people find you?
Ferry Plantation VA.net is the website for the house. You can purchase tickets to events on there. Of course, Facebook, Ferry Plantation on Facebook. We're boosting the Instagram. We're getting that up going too. For us, it's ACID Paranormal on Facebook or acidparanormal.com. That'll actually send you to attractionchasers.com. That's a business of mine that was the beginning of the funding for ACID Paranormal. So, and the first two initials of the acronym. But yeah, that's where you can find us. And YouTube, of course, we got ACID Paranormal. We got the public places we've done are on YouTube because we aren't putting people's private stuff out there.
Right, right.
But that kind of gives people a feel of what we do and how we investigate.
All right. Very cool. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us this evening. Really do appreciate it so much. That happens there at the Ferry Plantation. I enjoy it every time I go. One more time here for the viewers. Oops, that's the wrong one. This one, and we want to go and bring up the Encounters 4 cover. So yeah, Encounters with the Paranormal Volume 4. Part of the proceeds do go to help the Ferry Plantation. Like Cody said, they are not funded by the city, so they take donations. So part of the proceeds of that book will go to help the Ferry Plantation. And so please go ahead and grab that so we can help them out. So, all right. So, again, thank you guys. Let me get into the shout-outs and super chats and all that great stuff. So super chat, superstars this evening. There were quite a few of you guys for the show tonight. So Tom McNicholas, Dustin Samaria, Dawn, Francisco, Joe Chandler, Andrew Cox, and Raul Mueller. Thank you all very, very much for the super chats this evening. We really do appreciate all of that. Now let's go ahead and get into the shout outs, of course. Shana, thank you very much for shenanigating the chat. And then Donna Gordon, thank you for Cheshire Catting down there as well. So then our Amanda, you're not down here as a Mad Hatter this evening, so but she's there on the. Are you in there? Are you in there? Okay. Well, you're in the chat. Okay. Well, that's fine. Okay. So Amanda Donaldson is down there lurking in the chat. And then we have Tom McNicholas, Tim Schoen, thanks for joining us tonight. Tracy Christian, thanks for joining us as well. Variety Multimedia, that's Candy Orton. Thank you for joining us tonight, Candy. Yeah, there's Amanda down there saying hi. Jill Nimchinsky, thanks for joining us tonight. Katie Palmer, thank you once again. EQ. Have a good one. I really appreciate it. Sean Oldsmith from Australia, thanks for joining us, Sean. Appreciate it. Always our Aussie friends. We enjoy having them in the house. Here's Judy Wilson. Judy Wilson. No, they don't live there. Ferry Plantation's a historic home. But it'd be nice to live there. It feels like it. Yeah, because you're there so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can imagine because you guys are there quite a bit. See, Joe Chandler, Imla Buddha 61, thank you very much. Madeline Wyman, thank you as well. Beat3 Airspace, thank you for joining us again tonight. One of our Deep Down the Rabbit Hole Patreon patrons, so I should cover them before I forget. So Deep Down the Rabbit Hole Patreon patrons, you can catch us at patreon.com/hauntedroadmedia. We do put some extra material out there, and it's a great place for you guys to help support us as well, as we do all to help us do all these different things. And so that's Tom McNicholas, Beat3 Airspace, Zippy Davis, BD Flint, Joe Chandler, Andrew Cox, and I think I said Joe Chandler already, didn't I? Did I get all 7?
I think so.
I kind of jumped around a little bit there, so I hope I did.
My brain's mush.
Yeah, and there's other patrons out there as well. So we do thank all of you very, very much for that. All right, so then we have Diane Hilbert, Haunted Road Media's Fairy Queen. Thanks for joining us. Diane, all the way from Rhode Island. There's the Haglin. Thank you as well. Kathy Ciliento, thank you very much. And let's see who else we may have in here. Sharon Lane, thank you for all the questions and comments tonight too. Bree Jones was in the house. I thought Bree had to work tonight. Well, thank you for joining us, Bree. Carla Mids, thanks for joining us this evening. So we had a few new faces in here. Let me go ahead and scroll all the way back down. We'll wrap up and then get on to Inside the Upside Down. So there's Jen saying good night. Have a great evening, Jen. Thanks for joining us. And anybody else that I missed? Let's see. I think that is it for now. Of course, if we missed you, many apologies. We try to get everybody, but sometimes we miss people. So
We still love you.
we still love you. Absolutely. So stay tuned for Inside the Upside Down. Coming up next, we're going to be talking about respecting the dead. Inspired. If you guys saw my Facebook post early this morning, my Mike's Morning Mug post, and that cemetery that was completely desecrated, we're going to be talking about that and a lot more things. We're going to talk about respecting the dead during paranormal investigations and other different things that we do too. So while we're doing this, how to properly respect those that are no longer, like Vanessa says, in the meat sack.
Yeah, no longer in the meat sack.
Right.
Still alive.
All right. So Cody, Amanda, again, thank you guys very much for coming on. Really do appreciate it.
Yes.
And hope to see
Thanks
you guys
for having
again.
us.
It was nice to meet y'all.
You
Nice
too.
meeting you too.
Have a great night.
Good night.